The craziest military training on earth. Hello everyone, welcome back to Ahmed Media. Please stay tuned and watch till the end, and don't forget to subscribe, like, share and comment for future topics. For the first leg of our excruciating military training around the world, we find ourselves in Taiwan. The military powers on this East Asian island put their soldiers through an exercise known basically as the Road to Heaven. Sounds friendly, but once you discover what it actually consists of, the road to hell seems like a better idea. In order to ensure that every soldier can withstand the toughest battle conditions in the most dangerous landscapes, and in order to graduate the 9-week intensive amphibious training program, participants must leopard crawl along a 150-foot long path. Oh, when the path is littered with jagged corals and rocks, I forgot to mention that part. This is all after they've been forced to stay awake for 4 days non-stop, making this not only a severe physical test and pain tolerance, but also a test of mental resilience. If stepping on a Lego was anything to go by, there's no way we could ever voluntarily give this test a go. Let's move over to the US for a moment. The Navy SEALs have a reputation for being one of the most advanced military groups not only in the country but worldwide. The Navy even says so themselves, that SEALs are expertly trained to deliver highly specialized, intensely challenging warfare capabilities that are beyond the means of standard military forces. To qualify to become a Navy SEAL, trainees endure extreme water exercises in both pools and in the ocean, but we'll talk about that a little later on. In a controlled pool environment, trainees go through what's called cold water conditioning. Already that does not sound fun. The participants must have both legs and arms bound. They call it drown-proofing, because if you can escape this, you can escape anything. As part of the exercise, they have to bop up and down 20 times, swim a lap of the pool without scraping the bottom, and then retrieve a sunken object. That alone is insane, but we're not even done yet. A basic underwater demolition is also on site to deliberately attack the swimming trainees, simulating a real-world combat situation. As we hop across the pond to the UK, the Royal Marines have a grueling training practice of their own, specializing in expeditionary and amphibious warfare, Arctic warfare, and force protection. These troops are the UK equivalents to America's SEALs, and they go through training that requires just as much, if not more, grit and determination. For up to 45 minutes, the recruits are put through all kinds of exhausting physical challenges, push-ups, crawls along the shoreline on hands and knees, sprints, and it's part of the dehumanizing ordeal. Still though, that's nothing out of the ordinary, so what the Royal Marine trainers do is cover every single participant head to toe in heavy sticky sludge. Apart from the additional weight they're now carrying, the sludge also has a typical foul, rotten stench. This demanding activity, known as the sludge run or the mud run, is considered the most challenging and trying part of the entire 32-week training course. Over in Belarus, they take their military very seriously, pushing their soldiers through training courses that take bravery to another level. Battling against water or mud is one thing. Most people deal with these elements on a semi-regular basis. Well then, how about another element, water? If you want to be accepted into the Interior Ministry of Belarus as elite Red Beret units, you'll have to overcome the searing heats and legitimate risks of the open flame to graduate the Red Beret training course. Soldiers to be must march over 6 miles or 10 kilometers as a warm-up before undertaking a number of hand-to-hand combat acrobatic and high-rise exercises in some of the most unique conditions, including being surrounded by fire. While undertaking these tasks, commanders add a little spice to make the participants lose their balance or lose their nerve. They've been known to throw car tires, shoot pellets at the participants, and engulf the path on which the trainees are walking on in flames. We've all heard of the United States Secret Service. They're a subdivision of the Department of Homeland Security, tasked with conducting criminal investigations and protecting the nation's leaders and their families. That includes presidential parties, current and former, even after a president's term ends. Protection is promised in any environment, including places we would think are safe, like the beach. That's why Secret Service has created the Water Rescue Detail, a group of highly trained guards capable of perceiving and stopping any ocean or lake threat. Out of 3,200 Secret Service agents stationed around the globe, just 75 of them serve on the Water Rescue Detail, and to become one of them, a training program awaits. To call the program intense is an understatement. In addition to mastering hand-to-hand and weapon-based combat, the trainees must pass the initial swim test of covering 2,600 feet in 16 minutes and be able to swim the length of an 80-foot pool underwater while holding their breath for separate times while only a minute break between each lap. Remember how I mentioned earlier that the US Navy SEALs go through both pool and surf training? Well, now it's time to dive into the latter, known as surf conditioning. This demanding training technique requires the soldiers to link arms and lie down on their backs with their heads facing the water. As the waves crash in and out of their heads are submerged again and again and again, with the purpose of proving endurance, stamina, and resilience. They do this for a total of 8 minutes before being ordered to stand up and springing back to the sand dunes and completely covering their wet bodies with sand. And then, doing it all over again. As if the freezing waters and constant waterboarding wasn't enough, the commanders also forced their soldiers to scream "Hoo-yah," a naval battle cry at the top of their lungs, just to make sure that they are remaining alert and energetic. Militaries never know when or where a war is going to break out, so must expect the unexpected, and must train their soldiers for every possible outcome. While armies often expose their soldiers to ungodly desert heat, in places like South Korea they also expose them to freezing cold. As part of the training course, over 200 soldiers from South Korea's finest special forces head to a bitter cold region where temperatures plummet to -20 Fahrenheit and to -30 Celsius. While the cold stings their faces and bodies, the soldiers wrestle to do gymnastics, run a marathon, and engage in snow combat that might sound like a bit of fun, but these are far more aggressive than your average snowball fights. You'd think that we'd make it all the way through a worldwide display of crazy military tactics without giving at least one mention to the Russian forces? As a powerful nation with approaches sometimes considered divisive, the Russian special forces must learn to deal with a wide variety of threats, both domestic and international. That's why the Spetsnaz puts their soldiers through excruciatingly unique and dangerous training exercises on the daily. What's the best way to practice being on the receiving end of a bullet? Taking a real one while wearing a bulletproof vest, of course. That's right, one of the most outlandish and daring Spetsnaz routines requires soldiers to be able to hastily and accurately return fire. Okay guys, that is it for today's video. If you liked it, please don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and comment for future topics. Until next time.